Hey y'all, it's Betsy, and today we're going to do a tag video. And I've never done a tag video before, but I saw this video on Paulina's beauty channel, and this tag originated with Rachael Stephanie, and it is evaluating my eyeshadow palette collection tag. Now, I will leave both of their channels linked down in the description box, as well as the questions if you're interested in doing this tag yourself. But I figured this might help you get a little bit better acquainted with my makeup style, and I thought it was kind of fun and something a little bit different, something I haven't done before. Now, the first question is, what was your first eyeshadow palette? Now, the first eyeshadow palette that I used all the time, other than play makeup, I remember being a teenager, 13, 14 years old, getting a CoverGirl quad. I think it was called Shimmering Sands. And it was just neutral browns with like a light shimmer pink, and I used that all the time. But everybody at my school did as well. And the first high-end eyeshadow palette I remember purchasing was a purple quad from Clinique. And whenever I was a teenager, Clinique was the end-all be-all. It was like the top of the line, absolutely. You know, everybody had to have it. And that's probably where my love of colorful eyeshadows came from. Now, the next question is, what eyeshadow palette do you use the most? And this is a more expensive palette. This is the Pat McGrath Bronze Seduction palette. And it is a little bit newer to my collection, and I want to use it all the time. I purchased this because it was a little bit more neutral. So it was something I could use all the time when I do my PTA meetings and things like that. But the quality in this is just phenomenal. And these special shades, like the rose gold and the two hollow shades, I'm not sure if you can see that from where I'm sitting, but they're just stunning. And I had been lusting after Pat McGrath for quite a while as far as eyeshadow palette goes, and I finally bit the bullet to purchase that, and I wanted to make sure it was something I could use all the time, so that's why I have that one, and that will continue to be the eyeshadow palette that I use the most. Now, the next question is if you had to get rid of one right now, which eyeshadow palette would you choose and why? Now, I was watching Makeup Miss's channel, and she talked about the Revolution Beauty Foil Frenzy. So I bought both of them, and they are pretty. Some of the shades are creamy, but you really have to work to build up to get like the color payoff, and some of them are a little bit chunky. So those would probably be the palettes that I would get rid of, and I have two of them, just because it's not the quality that I was hoping for, and I like a shimmer or a glitter that really has a lot of impact. Now, the next question is, do you have a deep emotional connection with any of your eyeshadow palettes? Which one and why? It would be the Lorac, and this may not pick up since it's such a shiny surface, Beauty and the Beast palette. It looks something like this on the inside. And as you can see, I haven't used it a whole lot. I'm really not the biggest fan of, I have a lot better quality as far as eyeshadows go, but Beauty and the Beast is my favorite Disney princess. I absolutely adore the movie. The packaging on this is absolutely stunning. I'm going to see if I can hold it so you can see it. It says "Tell as Old as Time." It looks like a book. It is in like this beautiful champagne-y rose kind of finish. And I love this palette. It is everything that I wanted it to be as far as packaging goes. It's just not something I reach for because it is kind of a little bland and boring. And if I'm going to go for bland and boring, I'm going to go for something that has much more color payoff and is easier to work with, such as the Pat McGrath. Now, let's see, which was the biggest waste of money? Now, I will say that the quality of this palette was great. I've already decluttered it. I gave it to a friend, which was the Naked Heat. Now, the colors are beautiful. The quality was there. I liked the palette, but you could only get one look out of the palette. Everything ended up looking the same. So that one would be the biggest waste of money to me because it was quite expensive, and to only get one style of look out of it, it really was not as good as I thought it was. I believe the hype on YouTube. So which palette was the biggest surprise to you? Example that you ended up loving more than you thought or not liking as much as you thought. Makeup Revolution typically has been a lot more misses than hits for me. And they released the Night and Day palette. I'm not sure if it's gonna focus on this because it is a white packaging with gold letters. And the Earth and Stone. And these are dupes for the Pat McGrath palettes. And I was super excited to get these, and the quality is actually, look at that shimmer shade there. And I feel a lot better about spending $20 on an eyeshadow palette. See those? Versus $125. So that got me the colors of the first two Pat McGrath palettes without spending $125 on each of them. So another $250 on eyeshadow palettes. Next one is, do you have a palette that you never reach for and why? The Disney Designer Collection. Love the packaging. As I said, I'm obsessed with Disney and Disney princesses. I have used it for neutral looks a few times, but it is very, very, very bland. The ColourPop eyeshadow formula is phenomenal. It does a pretty neutral look, but it is just a neutral palette. So I keep it, but it is just a little bit too bland for my liking. And then the last question is, do you have any palettes where you love all the shades? Now, this one was probably pretty easy for me, which is kind of shocking. And that is the Melt Gemini palette. It looks something like this, and I have used this one quite a bit. These green, earthy, grungy tones are phenomenal on my complexion, and the nude section, this little bit of warmth, works really well. And the color Lorelei, which looks like baby poop, is stunning. Fire OG is amazing. I love the shimmer formula. It is just a absolutely stunning palette. It looks filthy because I've used it quite a bit, and I love all the shades in here. I mean, it just really makes me happy. I don't know. I love a good grungy, smoky eye. I do love to throw some color in. I will wear bright shades, but my day-to-day aesthetic is typically something like what I have on now, which is more of a grungy, smoky with glitter. And I love to use color, especially when I'm popping on an eyelid shade. That is typically my aesthetic. So again, if you want to do this tag, I will leave the questions linked down below. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and tell me what are maybe some of your biggest eyeshadow palette regrets. But other than that, don't forget to check me out on all my social media, Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, and Instagram. And again, I will have Rachael Stephanie's and Paulina Beauty, their channels linked down below. Go check out both of their videos on it and see if maybe there's some similarities to their eyeshadows that you like. But I guess that's it, so we'll see you on the next one. Bye.